Good evening, folks. Well, we're here at an undisclosed location of New York in the Matt's Antique Auto Studios. It's a frigid Monday night, but we're getting through it. Maybe it's 10, 15 degrees. It's just nasty out. It's real windy. It is what it is. But I'm just super psyched because I got my plates for the K car finally, and I know that you may listen to the previous video. I featured that car, and I had a bit of commentary about their backstory, but I never really got to drive it a whole lot. So now with the plates on it, naturally insured and registered, inspected, I got a little more, experience with it. And I got to tell you, so far, it's a pretty awesome fucking car. I got to tell you. It's got its quirks. I mean, don't get me wrong. It's got a weird stroke to the four-cylinder. Like, it vibrates no matter what. It idles at, 1,500, 1,800 or something. And it idles, kind of high when park. And then in drive, it's still pretty friggin' high. But it's just hilarious because for whatever reason, it, rattles the whole dashboard. And, there's a muffler leak. So I kind of remedied that. I gave it the old soda can treatment, coffee can, a few hose clamps while I'm in between getting the muffler redone. I haven't really gotten a chance to get over to him. But I got to say, so far, I think they're a class all their own. I mean, when you think of a shit box, and back in the day, when I say back in the day, I mean when I was in high school, which was, believe it or not, almost 15 years ago. I feel old, whatever, sue me. But, that was the definition of a shit box. It was like a K car or an Oldsmobile Cutlass Sierra or an old Crown Vic or a late year Caddy, like a 90s Caddy. Those were what we used to call shit boxes. But, throughout the years, it's just amazing watching these things go from a shitbox status to classics. People are really collecting these. But you know what? As I get older, I can see what they're talking about. I mean, I look at the K car. It's basically a trapezoid or a rhombus triangle on wheels. But it's just fucking cute. It's just an adorable, collectible little car, It's got this perfect mix of low options but some comforts. It's got just a comfortable old vinyl bench seat, friggin' unadjustable headrests, crank windows, an AM FM radio with absolutely no other, no cassette, no nothing, a cigarette lighter, and that's it, But it's just fun, and I like I said, I patched the muffler up a little. I've been taking it up and down, I've brought it to work Saturday. And it's just, I got no complaints if you go into it expecting what you're supposed to expect, It's not going to be a perfect car, no matter what. I don't even think the perfect specimen ones in a rich guy's garage is perfect. Because those cars were imperfect in their own right, but in a good way. I mean, they saved that whole corporation, Chrysler Corporation, through the 80s, and there's many videos on it. I covered it a little bit in my recent video, but yeah, it's a cool history. I would definitely, suggest reading up on the K car, the K platform vehicles, and Lee Iacocca, that whole thing. It's really cool. There's plenty of that on YouTube and Wikipedia and, K car clubs online, etc., etc. But so far I'm enjoying it. Ever since COVID hit, New York State DMV allows people to get their plates online, which I'm guessing other states, maybe in the tri-state, do the same. And as you that live in New York, you could probably relate how much of a pain in the ass it used to be to get plates or get a title or a duplicate title or crap like that. But I guess since COVID, they've been lightening up on their processes, and one of them being you can now register a car online. But it actually turned out to be a really helpful option now that they let you do that. And that's the route I went with the Dodge. So I'm super psyched about that. But yeah, so far it's pretty cool. I got my magnetic signs on it, and I'm morphing it slowly into the Mad Antique Auto Repair vehicle. Getting a few looks, reminiscent looks, But yeah, I'll keep you updated on that. It's fun. I'm gonna make a live action video of it soon. I just didn't get around to it today. But yeah, I got a few other things I want to cover in this segment. Things going on in the world. Because this is a podcast that I like to talk about everything. I don't like to just talk about cars. I love cars. It is the focus of this channel. But, I don't want to be beaten into a corner, so it's all good. Always open to suggestions and whatnot. So I wanted to talk about the Canadian trucker protests in Canada and a few other things. And just for funsies, I made some top 10 lists that I might even just make another video about. But, yeah, that's wild what's going on, in a good way. No matter how you stand on that, I guess the media really tries to spin it in a dark light, that they're blocking the bridges and whatnot. But to me, that's a pretty monumental effort on their part, and it's definitely, resonating here in the States, and I think we all owe them a huge thanks. It's really cool. It's cool to see people just peacefully. I saw a lot of peaceful, celebrations, I guess, within the confines of their protest or whatever. I saw a guy in an Elmo suit hugging an officer, and I'm like, that's cool. That's pretty awesome. Cause who you can't resist that. That's just clearly there's no way to say that Elmo was violent. He just out there giving hugs, and I guess what I'm trying to say is we need more Elmos just doing that at protests. You see at Times Square, a guy in a costume, just free hugs and whatever if you want. I don't know. But either way, it's super making a difference. It's incredible to watch. It really is. Again, no matter what side of the fence you're on politically, I mean, it's quite incredible to watch. They're standing up for what they believe in, and I think that's really cool. They're anti-mandate. So they don't believe that you should be forced to take that. That's what it is, So I'm all about people that could peacefully protest stuff they believe in, and when they do that and they end up making a difference, like the civil rights movement when it started out, or the famous era of the civil rights movement, the most famous in the 60s, I guess the late 50s and 60s, with the bus boycotts and the March on Washington, on the reflecting pool and whatnot. And when Dr. King said those words, it made a difference. And unfortunately, in my own opinion, I don't think the same can be said about some of the rioting and stuff that BLM is doing. But hey, it is what it is. I mean, I think there's a right way to do things and a wrong way to do things. But when something is no doubt peaceful and 100% not hurting anybody, and people are getting their point across, and more people are jumping on board who are also peaceful, I think that's where it's at. Whether it's a racial protest, whether it's protesting mandates, or mask laws, or anything, that's the way it should be handled. And there comes a point where the mainstream media will put a spin on something that's just too by the book, and they didn't do nothing wrong, so they will always find a way to spin it. But in this case, I think they really got nothing to get the vice grips clamped down solid on, so they're just it is what it is, and maybe some truths are coming to the surface. It's interesting to watch unfold. So that's just my short take on it. But I guess that's my stab at current events. But yeah, it's interesting. Here in New York, we're pretty much maskless. They're easing up a lot on mask mandate. Like you walk in a store, you don't need a mask. Maybe one or two people look at you, whatever. A lot of employees are still wearing them, but I guess that's trickling down slowly. So hopefully that can get back to normal for everybody. A lot of people work hard during this pandemic. I mean, people don't realize, like, the amount of people that didn't even stop working is crazy. But, it's all about your perspective. Some people have been through worse, Some people have, experienced deaths, multiple deaths in the family before COVID or just by whatever, So people just keep on trucking, and some people get real affected. But in time, the healing hands of time, hopefully that will, it subsides a little bit. But I think we've come a long way in the past few weeks, It's definitely less of a dark cloud over, at least my region, I mean, early January and Christmas was a real dark feeling time around here. And it seems to be lightening up a little bit. Again, you're always going to have people in, like, the store, like the one older lady that, like, is buying cigarettes, and she looks at you nasty because you don't have a mask on, and it's like, that's America to me, Like, that's like that moment where it's like, ain't that America for you, Like, a lady buying a carton of Pall Malls, and she looks at you because it's just silly. I got no words for it, but that's what it is. Well, guys, thanks a lot for tuning in. This is the Matt's Antique Auto Repair Podcast. We do all types of discussion on this channel. It ain't limited to cars. But I'd really appreciate it if you want to drop a like or press the subscribe button. It helps me have the drive to keep making these videos and recordings and all kinds of cool content that I'm constantly and ever working to improve better and better. So I appreciate it, and you stay safe, drive safe, be safe. And I hope to hear from you again, see you again here, whatever. Leave a comment, suggestions, whatever you may feel necessary. Have a wonderful evening, morning, whatever time it is where you are. Good night.